do some free agent fits. Lewis, we start with the Super Bowl MVP, Kenneth Walker. The Seahawks have at least given him the option to go out there and see what he can find. What's the best fit for Kenneth Walker?
Can you imagine Kenneth Walker paired up with Jaden Daniels in Washington? I think this makes a lot of sense. Jaden needs more help. He needs a guy who has Kenneth Walker's running style, his kind of intensity, his kind of ferocity, that wide zone running scheme that they really utilized in Seattle is something that he really does major in. I think he's tailor-made for it. I think this would take Washington and really relieve some of the pressure off of Jaden Daniels, maybe allow him to stay a little bit healthier and really concentrate on the throwing aspect of the football.
Kmart, I'm not diminishing the player. Kenneth Walker's a terrific player. If he hadn't been the Super Bowl MVP, I don't think this would be a story of nearly this magnitude. It was part of a 1-2 punch in that Seattle backfield last year. They got a lot of other people they need to pay after winning the Super Bowl.
1,000%. Listen, I feel like the unfortunate part for Seattle is they just have too many people that need money. Mm-hmm. And you got to get Jackson Smith and Jigba signed, Devin Witherspoon. So Kenneth Walker, listen, he wins the Super Bowl and then he gets to go somewhere else and get money. So I like that fit in Washington.
And he may wind up staying there. They could still negotiate a deal with him long term. Let's go to the next one because this is what I'm interested in. Kmart, what is the best fit for free agent Mike Evans?
Hear me out, guys. I'm going to say Buffalo. I know a lot of people want to put A.J. Brown with Josh Allen, but based on the conversations I was having in Indy, the sense I get in Buffalo is that Brandon Beane is under, their GM is under, he's not pressured. He doesn't feel stressed. He doesn't feel like he's desperate, like he has to go out and spend a ton of money to get, or assets to get somebody like A.J. Brown. Like, I think Mike Evans actually is a better fit personally. I like it with Keon Coleman. That's a guy who they drove the bus over him back and forth. I think Keon Coleman can watch a Mike Evans and say, that's how I should be a leader.
Nate, do you like the fit, Mike Evans to Buffalo?
Yeah, I like that fit. I think I was surprised that Brandon Beane doesn't feel a bunch of pressure to expend assets to get a weapon, because it feels like that was a big problem last year. We saw that in the playoffs. So maybe Mike Evans isn't the right answer, or excuse me, maybe A.J. Brown isn't the right answer. Mike Evans could be the answer, but they need something. They need something fast.
Yeah, they do. The only thing is, look, I love Mike. We all love Mike. We know what his track record of production has been ever since he stepped foot on a football field in the NFL and in Tampa exclusively. I just don't think Mike is truly a one at this point. I think he's a guy who's more like a 1B or a really, really good 2. Buffalo needs a 1. Buffalo needs A.J. Brown. They need that kind of guy. Mike could still fit in there perfectly. I'll tell you what, you get someone like Mike Evans, and you can add a 1 or a guy who's a true X or Z who has a ton of speed on the outside. Now you're cooking up there in Buffalo. So if I'm Brandon Beane, look, I'm with you. I don't know how Brandon doesn't feel a lot of pressure, quite honestly. Yeah. Regardless of what happened with Keon Coleman, they need some more weapons on the perimeter. They just do, and that Mike would be a start.
If they could find a way to get themselves A.J. Brown, I would be with you. If they can't, Mike Evans feels like a pretty good other option. In the meantime, Domonique, the long-standing saga of Trey Hendrickson and the Cincinnati Bengals, mercifully on his part, came to an end yesterday. They don't tag him. He finally gets his freedom. What's the best fit for this outstanding pass rusher?
Yeah, I think just about anywhere that's really close, because he's a great pass rusher. The Ravens come to mind as a team that has a lot of talent on defense but have been deficient with the pass rush. A player like Trey Hendrickson, even though he didn't play all the games last year and he's getting older, he's still an excellent pass rusher and gets pressure. So I think almost any team that feels like they could be improved by having a little bit of pass rush on the edge will be perfect, but the Ravens have been dying for it for a long time.
He says Ravens. Lewis, what do you say? Trey Hendrickson, give me the right fit.
I think it's Indianapolis. I think there he would be reunited with defensive coordinator Lou Anarumo. He had nothing but production with Lou when he was in Cincinnati, Hembo, always delivering the big-time stats. In the 4 seasons he was with Lou in Cincinnati, Myles Garrett and T.J. Watt, only 2 people who had more sacks than Trey Hendrickson. He produced for him. I think when you're getting at this point in your career, when you're 30-plus years old, you need to go somewhere where you're going to be comfortable and where people understand you and you understand them. And I think Indianapolis, they don't have any pass rush anyway. They're bottom quarter in the league in pass rush win rate. They need somebody like this.
All right, I got 1 vote for the Ravens. I got 1 vote for the Colts. Kmart, I'm still waiting for the right one. Give me a fit for Trey Hendrickson.
I think any contender, but I kind of feel like Patriots should.
Patriots?
Yeah, I kind of feel like this is a team.
He
Listen,
wants
a lot
you to say Dallas.
I mean, I'm waiting. I'm sitting here waiting.
Okay.
I don't know what I'm hearing all of a sudden. I got Joker, and the triple. How about someone say that Jerry Jones comes out last week and says, I think I'm going to spend some money in free agency this year. And now all of a sudden Trey Hendrickson is available, who is an outstanding pass rusher and won't cost you anything like what Myles Garrett would and what Maxx Crosby would.
Yeah,
and here's it fits like a hand in a glove.
Did I say Patriots? I totally meant.
You meant Cowboys.
I meant to say he should go to Arlington, Texas.
If by Patriots you meant Cowboys, then I agree with you completely.
Yes.
You know what I'm talking about. He's the perfect guy.
I agree with you. Listen, I agree with you that the Cowboys need to do something on every single level of their defense. They need an edge rusher. They need corners. They need a linebacker. I like it. I feel like any contender should be in on Trey Hendrickson. I do think he is that guy that can put your defense over the top. Maybe, perhaps I didn't think about it because I see that the Cowboys need a lot of things.
They need a lot of things.
I would rather put Maxx Crosby in Dallas, but hey, that's just.
But Maxx Crosby is going to cost you 2 ones, right? Maxx Crosby is not just going to cost you money. He's going to cost you, at least they're posturing like it's going to take 2 ones to get Maxx Crosby out of Vegas.
Yeah, it could. I mean,
a 1 and a 3. Is he that much better? He's that much better than Trey Hendrickson?
Okay, well, he's
when you need other things too.
I think he's 2. Yeah, I mean, he's 2 years younger.
2 years younger.
I mean, Trey is coming off of an injury season. Although, you know what? Look, I think we could have all forecasted that, considering the fact that he didn't play football all off season.
Yeah.
We talked about that on this show endlessly about the fact that the risk that you're running there. Look, I see your point.
Yes.
I like the.
I see it too.
I like the fit. Look, I'm just a stickler for older free agents need to really find their fit, and it needs to be perfect for them in order for you to really get the mileage out of them that you want. I've lived through it, and I think it would be perfect in Indy.
Finish it up, Nick. I'm told you're making faces.
Yeah. Yeah, I feel like I want a team that feels a little bit closer. Like Trey Hendrickson, as a part of a number of players coming to Dallas, feels like it makes sense. But I think given Trey's background and his history in Cincinnati in recent years, I think he fits a lot better with a team that's like, we're there. We just need one little piece to get over the top. The Cowboys do have a couple extra picks this year, or have an extra pick this year in next in the first round that they could trade for him, but they need so many more pieces on defense.
All right, and so they could get some of them in free agency and they get some of them in the draft. And Kmart, we're going to play a game of Would You Be Shocked? And let's start with this. Would you be shocked if Aaron Rodgers is on the Vikings next season?
Greeny, I would not be shocked, only because Aaron Rodgers made sense for them last year. He makes sense for them technically now. This is a team that I think is a legit playoff team. They have all the pieces. They just need stability at the quarterback position.
So hear me out. We opened the show this morning talking about Kyler Murray.
Yep.
And you made the comment, Lewis, if the Vikings get Kyler Murray, it signals they're done with J.J. McCarthy.
To me,
actually, signing Aaron Rodgers, it feels to me, that is more the give McCarthy 1 more year to sort of figure things out, let Aaron hold on to it. It would almost seem like that was much more of the short-term, spot.
Oh, yeah, it definitely sends the message like, hey, look, man, you need to learn how to be a pro. You need to learn from one of the very best. We still haven't thrown in the towel on you, but you need to sit back and listen. The timetable has shifted, but we haven't thrown in the towel. Because Aaron is truly year to year. Kyler Murray ain't year to year. Kyler Murray's looking for a place where he can maybe play 5, 6, maybe 8, who knows, 10 more years. That's a totally different message if you sign Kyler Murray. A totally different one.
Nick, is Aaron Rodgers to the Vikings a good idea for either side, both sides, or neither side?
I mean, I think the Vikings is a great idea for any quarterback that can get there, considering you get a chance to throw to Justin Jefferson. However, I mean, I think that we all feel silly kind of counting Aaron Rodgers out because we know how good he has been, and he still throws the ball pretty well. But what we saw from him last year didn't seem like a championship-level quarterback. Like, he wasn't willing to stand in the pocket and get hurt. He doesn't have the athleticism to create anymore. If the Vikings believe that they're as close as I think we all think they are, I think that Aaron Rodgers is not quite at the level that you would expect for a quarterback. And I understand there aren't a bunch of quarterbacks out there that are as talented as Aaron Rodgers, but the last couple of years he's kind of shown that I think his best days are behind him, and the Vikings might be better off going somewhere else.
Maybe, but we're sort of at a restaurant with a fairly limited menu here, so
Yeah,
sometimes you got to choose
Right.
something that may not have been your first time. And I didn't feel like having the salmon tonight, but I don't got better options. All right, Kimberley, let's go to the next one. Would you be shocked if the Browns traded the sack king, Myles Garrett?
Greeny, I would be shocked. You know why? Because they could have done this last year.
Right.
So if they didn't want to do it last year and they dug their feet in the ground and said, nope, we are sticking with Myles Garrett, why, after him winning Defensive Player of the Year and setting the sack record and all that, why move on from him now? But it's Cleveland, so nothing.
What do you think, Louis?
Yeah, I'd be shocked. I haven't looked at the contract and what the ramifications would be, but I assume it would be gigantic. They should have did this a year ago. Look, we've talked about this. We were on this show talking about this. I think right now, though, they're going to ride with him. They got to figure out everything else, namely this offensive line. If Shador is the franchise quarterback.
Deshaun is there.
Exactly. I mean, there's a lot more for them to do. I think Myles is going to be in Cleveland or in Brook Park, wherever that new stadium is going to be built.
And we'll see if that's pretty much the end of that. Kmart, let me get you to the last one here because this is where we wanted to live. Jerry Jones said last week he expects himself to spend more money this offseason than he traditionally has. Would you be shocked if he actually does it?
Greeny, I would not be shocked. But let me offer this caveat. Jerry Jones never spends money. So him saying I'll spend more money could be a little bit than nothing. I don't know what that looks like, but I would hope that the Dallas Cowboys would be aggressive but not reckless in their offseason approach via free agency and the draft, because they're a team that needs a lot of pieces, particularly on defense.
Well, here's the thing. Hear me out on this. I touched on this earlier this morning, but I'll be serious about it with you here, Domonique. Trey Hendrickson has been on a team as recently as 2 years ago that had one of the great offensive performances ever. Joe Burrow, this is not at my hyperbole, 2 seasons ago had one of the great quarterback seasons in NFL history, and they didn't make the playoffs because the defense was so bad. The Cowboys offense may not be that level of good, but it is most certainly playoff good, maybe even championship level good. The defense just has to get a little better. I keep hearing people talk about the Cowboys trying to trade for Maxx Crosby. They need a lot of people. In order to get a lot of people, you need to have all your draft picks. If I'm the Cowboys, I'm not trading any of those draft picks for Maxx Crosby. I'm getting a slightly lesser facsimile thereof, and I'm signing Trey Hendrickson, who as of yesterday is a free agent. What do you think?
No, it makes sense. I think it makes sense to add Trey to just about any roster, and the Cowboys are absolutely included in that. He's a pass rusher, but I think the part that makes it weird is what's hanging over all the things that the Cowboys do is the decision they made with Micah Parsons last year. It's like if you want a pass rusher, you had one. You should have figured it out. That handshake deal that Jerry Jones said that he had should have survived all the way through to the signing, not just the handshake. So that's the hard part about any decision is any money that you end up paying Trey Hendrickson would have been better spent last year giving it to Micah Parsons. So I think you're right. At this point, that's all water under the bridge, and the decisions that they make need to be to improve this defense. And paying Trey Hendrickson is certainly not a bad move, considering that they have weak spots everywhere. Filling one of them as soon as possible would be good.
Yeah, look, I agree. Look, I understand what you're saying as far as, look, keep all your powder dry in the draft to go ahead and stockpile young second and third level defenders.
Yes.
Maybe a linebacker, 2 corners.
They got 2 first-round picks to do it.
Safety, something like that.
They got spots to do it.
I get it. Look, I'm just, and Trey Hendrickson is someone who I have immense respect for. I think regardless of where he goes, he's going to be okay. I love the fit in Indianapolis. I understand why people say, well, look, Dallas is much closer to maybe being that team that's a piece away from a guy like Trey Hendrickson from being to where they want to get to than Indy. I get it. He may look at it the same way. Jerry just needs to put his money where his mouth is. Okay, so we'll see.
Can I just mention, could Jerry be learning from past mistakes now?
Learning what?
You know,
He's only been the owner for 40 years.
Could he be turning over new? Like Javonte Williams, I was surprised that they got that deal done before the combine even started. Obviously, they're gonna, they're gonna give Brandon Aubrey a lot of money. George Pickens, same agent as Michael Parsons, but they've made it clear like they want Pickens in the building.
Yeah. Has he learned the agent's name? Maybe that's one of the things he learned over the course of the last year. He learned the name of the agent.
Let us pray. So I don't know. This process, as far as like the whole new defensive staff, like there are enough things in Dallas that make me a little intrigued.
Nick, who wins the NFC East next year?
I think the Cowboys probably do win the NFC East next year. I think obviously the big head team up there is the Eagles. And the questions are, how's that offense going to be without Stoutland running the O-line and potentially without A.J. Brown?
That's wild, man. You know what? We want them Cowboys to be good, though.
Yeah, we do.
We just want them to be good.
And someday they're going to be. We could just
Greeny will get into it.
and one of these days
We want them so bad to be good.
One of these days they'll meet us halfway.